Today is Saturday, September 8th, 2018. Get ready for the Emergency Broadcast System, the Forbidden History Series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Now's the time to call your friends. Good morning, Ash. Good morning, Lynn. Stand by. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. And special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History Series. Please note that the following views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here would ever be construed as medical, hate, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the RealPublicRadio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Stand by for the broadcast. Good morning, y'all love. Glad you can make it. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio, in the heart of Amish country, and Free America Radio Network, in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History Series. And what they didn't want you to know, the ABCs of light, symbolism, the great lies of history, the duality revealed in patterns, pictures, and nature. The piracy of words, the words that killed, the words that they killed us with, the words that, they shoved down our throat, literally. And we got to speak in Pig Latin. The movies, book reviews, and a whole lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here because we are the deprogramming program. It's the battle for the mind. The truth is light, but ignorance is darkness, and these are the great antagonists, the one against the other. But once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things as they really are, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. And you don't know what you don't know until you listen in, and that's why we're here, because the best way to identify the truth is to identify the great lies of history. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Forbidden History series. I'm your host, Desert Owl, a bird who sees in the night and see too much. Okay, but we're going to try to make lemonade out of lemons, and that's the best we can do here with a psychopathic world that literally wants to drink our blood. And Lao Tzu said, "We work with being, but non-being is what we use." That's probably not a perfect transliteration, but in essence, what Lao Tzu said is true. And when I talk to the other great philosophers of the past, Socrates, Buddha, or Confucius, I ought to include Lao Tzu because there's a classic Lao Tzu presentation on YouTube I've listened to periodically. And I love to listen to it from beginning to end and just watch beautiful pictures while I'm listening to his book, And I think it's called the Tai Te Kang, but I have to, it escapes me at the moment. But nonetheless, the original philosophy of those who were honest and pure, they did like Yeshua. They read the natural reflections that were breathing to us in nature. It's one theme. It's one thought. It's the expression of the one, and they were able to tap into that and give us great philosophy. And good morning, Ninja. Glad you're here, and everybody else, of course. So Lao Tzu, he's worth checking out. I'll try to find that particular one and share that with everyone when I locate it. Okay, and we're in a troubled world, ladies and gentlemen, with very bad news. That's all. I feel like I'm always the bearer of bad news, and it's a real drag. But of course, we have good news as well. And the good news is that this is not our world, and we have to pull our lives together in this great mystery and transcend, and that's the inner journey. So that's what Lao Tzu was implying. We work with being, or with the material world is another way of saying it. We work with the material world, but the non-material is what we are using, okay, and where we're supposed to be going, the non-material. So it's the great mystery, and that leads into the point that we are an atomic creation, okay. The sun is the great atom. It's the symbol of the atom, and yet it is made of nothing but atoms. Can you imagine how many atoms are in the sun, right? And then they're all beaming down, constantly pouring down, constantly raining down on us. They say just 1 hour of sunlight can literally power everything on Earth for the next year, something like that. The power that we're talking about, the energy, is so fantastic. And then I think it's Second Esdras, it says that the power of the power of Yahweh, that if we brought all the stars of the cosmos together, okay, if we brought them all together, that he would still be 10,000 times greater. So literally, Yahweh is 10,000 times greater than all of the stars of the universe put together. Yeah, the Tao Te Kang. Thank you, Yalav. Right, that's Lao Tzu. So not only is the sun an atomic creation, but we are a microcosm of that macrocosm. We are an atomic creation. That's what we're made out of, atoms. When you see blood pouring on the ground, it's really not wet. It's a bunch of tiny little microscopic atomic particles, but compounded. They're compounded with atoms, so they're not as small as the atom, but they're, you know what I'm saying? That it's like a bunch of marbles, miniature marbles coming out of your body, but we have the illusion of being wet, like blood being wet, but it's really not. It's just that they're so small, they get all over you, and you can't wipe it off because it's so microscopic, So so this illusion is quite an illusion, is it not? And we have to therefore recognize the illusion of the physical nature and the reality of what we cannot see. That's obviously the hardest thing on earth to do for most people, because we were not properly groomed. When we were the most ready to absorb the most important information, and when we came into the world as a little sprig, a little sprout, and we're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 years old. That's the most important time for absorbing what is in our purview, and so it's a real tragic, that they're fed violent cartoons and commercialism on everything they hold in their hand has a commercial advertisement, from the stupid stuff at McDonald's, all the cups and all the stupid stuff that they feed our little ones with clowns and you know what I'm saying. that we're supposed to absorb the deepest type of conceptualization of who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are, and instead we're fed bull, the papal bull, and with all the secret agents. So it's interesting that the word, and most people don't get it, and one day decades ago, I saw it, and you excuse me, I have to mute out for a minute. Hang on. All right, thank you. To remember all this stuff, that's why I write a dictionary, because it's not possible to, it's the journey of discovery. But a lot of the discoveries I don't forget either, Good morning, Shannon. Great to have you. So Orient, okay, the original word for the East is the Orient, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The O-Rayen. The O-Rayen, there it is, the O, the true, perfect, complete, the O of the ray of light, the rays of light, the O-Rayen, okay? And so East is really an abbreviation. You see, it's another word altogether. Because isn't it interesting that Orient obviously sounds more correct, because it's about having orientation, right? How do we orient ourselves? By navigating with the sun, right? What are we doing? Going south, east, west? We get that orientation from the sun, but also the stars, of course, but they're just other suns up in the sky, right? So orient. So we have to get our orientation from the sun, and that's why it's called a solar system. And in fact, how profound that I was reading this morning in Jeremiah and Farrar Fenton, okay? And what did he say here? I guess it's Jeremiah speaking to Yahweh. Oh, true, great Father, who sees all things in the eye of the return, Yahweh, who made the solar systems. Literally says it in Fenton, a solar system, who made the solar systems, with a plural, okay, meaning the other stars that are out there as well. Good morning, Martha. Great to have you. And so the solar systems, okay, there it is, right? And yet people are trying to now say the scriptures are talking about, a flat earth, and that the sun is really just a little atomic blurb that goes around. It's a solar system. The sun is at the center. Everything came out from the light. Everything. And so Fenton got it right, okay? I don't know what it says in LAMSA. I'd have to go look. I didn't do that follow-up. But I was really impressed with my read. I'm going to share that real quick with you. But I want to get back on the orientation. Okay, and so East is an abbreviation, and they left off the BR. And it's the breast. Okay? But of course, if the V, and let's stay there for a moment, okay? Because so the breast, why? Because it symbolized our nourishment comes from the sun. Everything we do, is based upon the sun, the light, the power. Everything came out of it, the atoms. Everything is constructed by it. Don't matter if it's the tiny little dot or if it's the size of the earth. Or, you know, it's, and the orientation takes us back to the Garden of Adams. That's the Garden of Adams, not the Garden of Eden, because Eden was a corruption. It's the Garden of Adams, and it's where all life comes from. So it's hard to wrap our mind around the fact that you know, we refer to the sun as a garden. I know that's one of the hardest things to realize. But remember, if you're spirit, it's a whole different ball game, you know, and therefore we're far removed from having that inner vision, and we have to grab it. That's why when the three went into the fiery pit in Babylon, right? And Nebuchadnezzar says, "Hey, didn't I throw three people in there? And how come I see four people in there? And one of them looks like the seed of the sun, you see?" And because he said son of God, and that's seed of the sun, it's a code. And but if we change the word breast and give it the V, that is the original, then we got vorest. And interesting, that comes with the same word as forest. Vorest is forest, and forest is not a woodland, it's a park. You know, in England, they go into the forest, and it's like, you know, for rest. That's what forest means. They go for rest. And so you don't go into the wilderness, you know, when you're going hiking and all that. That's the wilderness. That's where all the trees are, and you get lost. But the forest is like a park. I looked it up, okay? It's not what we think. They've changed our ideas about these words. So the vor also then is the prime root of the vortex. And so then the orientation is the center, the vortex, and that is the sun. Interesting, the word text comes out of there, and that has to deal with textual matter. But the sun, okay? So orient is the original. They corrupted it with east, which is the breast, and it's at the center, the vortex. So it's all there if we can read it, but we're not reading it, and nobody's telling us orient is the original word for east, and so that's where we get our orientation from, because that's where we came from. The light, we fell from the light, did we not? Okay, we fell from the light in more ways than one, in the esoteric sense and in the exoteric sense. Well, yeah, that's a different kind of rest, of course. We're not talking about that one, sundogging. Yeah, and you'll need some more rest after you're done with your hike, okay? So anyway, we are in atomic creation, and we have to see that with the inner eye, okay? So glad we got that out. And now I want to share with you this profound read this morning with Yeremiah, and then I'm going to talk about the duality real quick. Got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So need a little bit more light. Hang on. And I hope everybody's doing okay out there. I know it's a tough world, but we got to get through it, right? That's right. And hope Mew Mew's doing okay. She's usually on the call with us. Oh, she can't join us today. Okay, Lynn, thank you for the heads up. So we know she's okay then. All right, so I'm in Jeremiah, Yeremiah, Maya. Actually, Mia is Maya. The Yore Maya, it may be in the original. That's one I haven't worked on. But so we're in. This is a profound revelation. All right, it just fits one more time with you know, the story about the exile and the banishment of Israel, and also that that Yeshua is through Yahweh is talking about establishing a new Jerusalem. Okay, not the old one, but there's a statement in here that nails it on the wall. Okay, and it was when very good, and when thank you, Martha. And so it's going to nail it all on the wall now. Okay, just like I've been saying, you know, we have all the evidence of the annihilation of Israel, but this is the clincher. Okay, this is the clincher, and let me just put an underline on this thing here. Okay, in this land. Okay, got it. And so I'm going to start here on the message to Yeremiah when he was in prison. Okay, this message came from Yahweh to Jeremiah, in the 10th year of Zedekiah and the royal Malek of Judah, which was in the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, which very possibly is Nabucodonosor. It's very likely Nazare. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar. Whilst the army of the king of Babel besieged Jerusalem, when Jeremiah was confined in the court of the guardhouse of the palace of the Malek of Judah, where Zedekiah, Malek of Judah, had confined him. He had demanded of him, why do you navigate asserting, thus says Yahweh, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babel, who will capture it. And Zedekiah, Malek of Judah, will not escape from the hand of Kesarim, the Kashadim. For the eye he will be given to the hand of the king of Babel, and speak face to face with him, and see him eye to eye, A to A. Zedekiah also will go to Babel, and there, until I visit him, breathes the Yahweh. Although the eye fights with the Kasharim, the eye will not succeed. Then Jeremiah replied, the command of Yahweh came to me breathing. Comprehend that Hanamah ben Dude will come to you and breathe. Buy for yourself the farm at Anathoth. Now this is what it is right here. Okay, this is where we're leading into. Let me just write down his name here. Underline it. Okay, he will come to you and breathe. Buy for yourself the farm at Anathoth, for the right is yours, and the price of it is the price, and is the price of redemption. Okay, so there's the key right there. It's the price of redemption. Okay, and the price of redemption. And so Hanamal, Mal is like the hammer. You know, the Mal, it's the big hammer. So even in his name, he's got the big hammer. And there's the word Anna. So it means, so Hannah, Mal, Anna is harvest. And when did the harvest come? At the end, when Yeshua said, pray to the Father that he'll bring more workmen to the harvest, because the fields are ripe, right? That was at the end. That was from this point, 500 years in the future. But okay, so the name of the party is telling the story, Hanamal. It's the harvest. It's the great harvest, because it's a mal. A mal is a big hammer. It's going to be the great harvest. And I will come to you and breathe. Buy for yourself the farm. But it's not farm. Okay, it's garden. Okay, because I saw it on the other side, on the other column. And that farm is being used, and it should be garden, because it is about the garden. Remember, it was a vineyard, and the father of a vineyard sent his son, and they said, surely they'll honor the son, but then they dragged him out of the city and killed him. Well, okay, it was about the vineyard or the garden. A vineyard would be maybe even more appropriate here, vineyard. But this is fine for now. And so Hanamal, my cousin, accordingly came to me, as Yahweh had breathed to the court of the guard, and breathed unto me the mother's eye. I wish to buy the vineyard at Anathoth. At Anathoth. I just want to write vineyard here so I don't forget it. Hang on. And sell me the vineyard at Anathoth. There's Anathoth. Now Anna comes up again. We got two Annas. Hanamal and Anathoth. And Thoth is synonymous with Thor. So it's the power. It's the thunder. So Anathoth means then literally the power of the harvest. And buy the vineyard at the power of the harvest. When is the power of the harvest? When Yeshua came, 500 years in the future. You see, you've got to be able to read these names of people, their titles, because they're telling the story. That's how you can get bearing, where it is going. Okay, what does it mean? There's the element of that is always hidden in the party's title. That's the way the book is written. It's a code book. Okay, but it's the good code versus the bad code. Okay, that's why they corrupted these words, these names, because they don't want us to break the code, to read the code. So Anna should have two N's in it. And remember, when I did the explanation about the N being two N's were equal to one M, and therefore Anna though has to have two N's, even though even in Fenton it only has one N. Okay, this is why knowing the code is so important, because then you can see and read it for yourself. Okay, so I wish to buy the vineyard at Anathoth, which means the power of the harvest, in the district of Benjamin. So Benjamin was the smallest. He was the last, right? So he's at the end. He's at the end of the line. The end of the line was 2,000 years ago when Yeshua said, "It is finished." That was the end of the line right there. Okay, at the end of time, as it says in Hebrews 9:26, at the end of the world, also meaning the end of an age. But it meant that the people who will continue to live in darkness have no relationship with them. Okay, and so continuing here, in the district of Benjamin, for the heredity right is yours. The heredity right is yours, and you have the funds, the payment, and you have the payment for its redemption. And I recognized that it was that the Yavohe had breathed. I consequently bought the farm at Anathoth from Hanamal, my cousin, and weighed the money to him. 17 shekels of silver. Well, I know that the number should be 18 because 18 is the 3 6s, which represents a star. Okay, so they changed the numbers. That's another thing they do. But if it's next to it, you know it is. So 17 is right next to 18, and you know it's an 18 because it's the symbol of a star. That's what's happening. A new age is predicting the age of golden light that Yeshua is bringing in. Okay, and then I signed the deed and sealed it, and the witness witnessed it, and I counted out the money in their hearing. I then took the sealed deed of purchase with its laws and conditions and the deed of possession and gave the deed of purchase to Baruch ben Nariah ben Makshia. Well, it sounds like it's right next to Moshiach. Actually, it's right next to Moshiach. It depends upon, what vowels you use. So his father's father is Moshiach. Again, more symbolism. Okay, powerful. Baruch, well, Baruch, he gave it to Baruch. Baruch means, that's the word they corrupted and made bless. But his first name is Baruch, and so that is born of the endowment and the enlightenment with the mind's eye for seeing in the night, born of Nadiah ben Mashiach, born of the Mashiach. Whoa. So the enlightenment then is born of the Mashiach. You see, it's a subliminal storyline right overtly in our passages, and nobody interprets these things unless they're fortunate, to see it, and they know the code. So in the presence of Hanamal, okay, so do this purchase in the presence of Hanamal, my cousin, in the presence of the witness who had signed the deed of purchase, in the presence of all. I'm sorry if I didn't tell you what chapter I'm in. 32. Please forgive me. Chapter 32 in Jeremiah, and I'm on verse 12. I just read about Baruch in verse 12. And okay, so I'll back up here. And in the presence of the witnesses who had signed the deed of purchase, in the presence of all the Hebrews, detained in the courtyard, and instructed Baruch in their presence, breathing. This is what Yahweh of the only true star breathes. The great Elohim of Eshariel, take these deeds, this deed of purchase with its seals, and the deed of possession, and put them in an earthenware jar, so that they may be preserved for a long time. For a long time, 500 years. For thus breathes the Yahweh of the only true stars, the great Elohim of Israel. Never buy houses or farms or vineyards in this land again. Okay, there it is. There is the absolute. Hold on, taking a note. As we kept talking about, Israel's no more. Utah's gone. The temple's destroyed. The library's burned. Everything's just, the walls came down. Total destruction, annihilation. Over and over, it said they would not follow. And backing up just real quick in 31:33, here it says, but this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after these days. Okay, and it's talking about the Israel of the sky, not the Israel of the land, but the Israel of the sky, because he said he would take David's throne up and put it in the throne of the Son, right? Excuse me, that Yeshua would rule from his throne, right? Okay, I will make with the house, this is the covenant. Okay, after these days, says Yahweh, I will fix my laws in their breast, and I will write them upon their heart, and I will be their great Elohim, and they will be my people. And they will no longer instruct each other, his neighbor and his brother, breathing, learn about Yahweh. For all of them will know me from the least to the greatest. All of them breathes the great Yahweh, for I will pardon their frailty and no more remember their blindness. Okay, so passing back now over, and it's interesting on the footnote, with the deed, going back to chapter 32 now, verse 14, note that this verse, the reader should remember that in Jeremiah's day, deed writing were made on stone, slate, or clay tablets, afterwards baked, and so not liable to decay as paper is, but they apparently made it on paper and rolled it up and put it in a clay jar. For thus breathes the Yahweh of the only true stars, the great Elohim of Israel. Never buy houses. You will know, in other words, you will no longer purchase houses in this land again. Okay? That's the deal. You will no longer purchase houses in this land again. Meaning the land, the landscape, the physical nation, Israel, is over. This is the final straw. It was sold. It was sold how? Up to the higher order of things. It was being placed back into the throne of the Son in the metaphor. Okay? Because we just saw it in all the words. Hanamal, Baruch ben Nedeah ben Mashiach. Nedeah, I haven't transliterated that, but Naldeah, oh, okay, I see it, Naldael. The Dael that came down, Naldael. Dia is obviously right next to Dael, and Na, the N, means that which came down, prime root, the N, so it's Naldael, okay? So it means that which came, which goes around, came down. What goes around? The light goes around, and it came down. How? Ben Mashiach, through the Messiah, okay? So, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The smoking gun is in verse 32, chapter 32, verse 15 of Jeremiah. Never buy houses or farms or vineyards in this land again. Continuing, I prayed to Yahweh after I had given the deed of purchase to Baruch ben Nadeah. And remember, who owns the land? Who had the right to commission him to make the purchase? The one who made all things, of course, right? So he's saying, sell it. Sell the land. And you'll know it by the words. It's about the great harvest. And I created light to Yahweh after I had given the deed of purchase to Baruch ben Naldeah, who breathed, true, perfect, and complete, the one who sees all things in the great eye of the return, Yahweh, who made the solar system. solar systems plural, and the earth by your great power and your directing arms. Let not any one of your promises fail. Oh, promise, the promise going back to Abraham, that you would receive the great breath of the wind and fire. Good morning, Anna, up in Scandinavia. Good to have you. Okay, so promise, how beautiful this is, you know. If this doesn't keep me going, then I've got a promise to be involved in a marriage, to find fulfillment and completion on my 40 years in the wilderness. Not that you have to go through 40 years in the wilderness, okay? I did. Because, you know, obviously with what I'm having to do here, I had to go through a greater struggle. But the beauty is his mercy and favor for all is great. You know, he just wants people to turn around, you know, and he says who he gave much to, much will be required. So the important part is that you can hear and that you can follow. Okay. So the promises, he says, what did he say? Let not any of your promises fail, saying that if he gave you a promise, then that promise is good. Okay. Hold on to that promise. That promise is what has kept me going. Yeah. Anna means harvest. There's Anna. The harvest. We were just talking about you, Anna, in the story here. Hanamal and Anathoth. They have the word Anna in there, and it means harvest. You can see that's why they call the anagram an anagram, because you can read it frontwards and backwards, and Anna frontwards and backwards still means harvest, no matter how you look at it. And then you go by last name. I think that was just a tongue-in-cheek thing from you. Okay, so show kindness to the fallen. There you go. Show kindness to the fallen, and repay the faults of the fathers to the lap of their children after them. The great Elohim of great power and vision in the eye of the return, the Yahweh of the only true stars, is his royal title. Great in purpose and multiform in action. Your eyes examine all the ways of the seed of Hadam, the seed of the dictum. Adam's name is dictum, so the ways of the seed of the dictum. That's the seed of light. That's the words. It's talking about words there. And Adam. To give all the ways of the seed of Adam. To give to each according to his ways and the result of his practices. You appoint signs and portents from the land of Mitzrayim until now, as well as in Israel and among mankind, and made yourself a royal title. And okay, so I could go on, but that's basically just going down to the bottom and talking about Israel. But you listen not to your voice. They listened not to the voice. They had the promises, nor walked according to the laws which you commanded them to practice. They practiced them not. Therefore, you have brought them all to this misery. Okay, so they were not worthy. And they're still, everybody wants to call them the chosen people. They were at one time. But they rejected him, right? They rejected him. He didn't reject them. They rejected him. So anyway, I just had to share that this morning, and just filled with stuff. And I think the last time I read Jeremiah cover to cover was like 20 years ago. And I'm so glad for Fenton, because Fenton is the best you're ever going to read, ladies and gentlemen, right? Get for our Fenton. The time is short. Okay, so I want to talk real quick about the duality, and so the thing about when we were talking when we get to Genesis, we're doing that every day now until we get through it, and so the duality, right? I was trying to point out that there's the false and that which is true, the false and that which is true. Right? We get all these pictures from our stories, just like when Yeshua is on trial, you got two guys, both of them are named son of the Father. Yeshua is son of the Father, and Barabbas, which they call Barabbas, but it's Barabbas. Actually, Barava, that's the correct way to say it. Barava, A-V-A-V-A, A-V-V-A, okay, Barava, and it means sons of the Father. Interesting that the word Abba, which is Ava, is not found in any book of the Old Covenant. The Aramaic word for father, Ava, is not found. They spell it Abba with the B's, but it's correctly the V. It's not in the Old Covenant. Interesting. But shows that they hate the father, bottom line. And they love the mother, right? That's why I said Yiddish. Yiddish means the star of the mother. Yid is Yud. Yudish, youth, that comes from Yudah, the lion, meaning a star. So they're calling themselves the star of the Yiddish is star of the mother. The star is the light of the mother. Yiddish is their diction. It's their light, but they made it a code, so you'll never read it. You'll never be able to learn it. You'd have to dedicate your life to learning that Yiddish garbage, because it's all a code of gibberish. Look at the letters on your driver's license. That's the code you want to know. The perfect letters from the Aramaic. Okay, so there were two gardens. Get the picture. There were two gardens. One is called Eden, which is a corruption for the word Adam, the garden of the atoms. And remember the quote by Lao Tzu: "We work with matter, but non-matter is what we use." Non-matter is what we use. Non-matter. Okay, so that goes back then to the electric power. If it's non-matter, it's the primordial. It's the energy, right? That which was first. And so the two gardens. Well, we got the garden of the atoms, and then we got the lower garden on earth, which is where Adam fell from the garden of atoms and came down, and that was symbolic of his falling asleep. And he wakes up. And he finds out he's being now tested and tempted, and so that's why they immediately fell, in short order. So the duality. There's two gardens, and there's the garden of light, and then there's the garden of darkness, because matter is in darkness, and the atom is the primordial light. So and then also interesting, you got that Adam was the first made. Is the same pattern that of Yeshua. Yeshua was the first made in the universe. And so then Adam sounds like the atom, atom, the first atom, which represents Yeshua, which is Yeshua, the perfect atom. Then we have another picture just like it with Adam, A-D-A-M, and he's the first made on earth. So Yeshua is the first atom in the universe, and then Adam is the first made on planet Earth, and then he's taken up into the Garden of Atoms, and he's there for the time that it took to bring forth all of creation on Earth, the millions of years that life had to evolve on Earth. Man didn't evolve; man was put here, but all of life evolved on Earth. We see it in nature; it's still happening. It's continually evolving, continually changing. We see all the evidence of that. We have to acknowledge the truth. What they did is they separated science from spirituality. In other words, the scientists can never admit that all of life evolved, but that then man was placed here by the great Elohim. The scientists can't say that, so they have to say that man also evolved as well. But it's all of life on earth evolved. That's correct. Spirituality and science come together. Man was placed here. He was spontaneously generated by the Elohim. Elohim also generated all the life, working in conjunction with the sun and the moon, and even the other planets in the solar system with the invisible energy that they possess, all working in tandem, creating life, tugging and pulling and electrically moving with the magnetism, whatever, the metaphysics, the higher order of things, the resonance, the sound, the invisible sound, all of that interacting together. So everything is female in creation. That's why they embrace the mother. They embrace the creation, you see. But anyway, getting back. So Adam, therefore, there's another duality. Yeshua is the first atom, and Adam is the first creation on earth. So we have another look-alike. Adam is a duplicate then of Yeshua, and that's why we're talking about the Aryan race, because Yeshua is, Yeshua is represented as the sun, and therefore he would have had blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. You know, that's why the Aryan came last. But the Aryan was made first, but he came last, and he was supposed to bring truth to mankind. The Aryan is not better than anybody else, okay? It's not about, you know, the superiority. It just so happened that they were given a certain knowledge that made them superior, but they were supposed to save mankind to let them know about the divine love and that we were of a higher order and that they could transcend this world. But instead, the Aryan that fell wanted to enslave mankind, okay? But the duality is there. The first made in the universe, Yeshua, the first made on earth, Adam, both of them Aryan in their form, blonde hair, blue eyed. That's why they were called sky gods and sun gods, you see. And therefore they came down to earth. And then they decided, with all the head knowledge that they had, they could clean up shop. And so they took blood oaths. They were turned on. They were turned on by those beautiful redhead spotted women down at the bottom of the mountain. And the idea that they could have all mankind serving them. They knew how to live to be 1,000 years old by drinking the serpent venom, you know, that extended life, you know, the great secret that they're not talking about today. So all of that, ladies and gentlemen, all of that in this saga, the duality's right out the gate. Every part of the story is a duality, okay? It takes the two. What they say, takes two to tango, takes two to have creation, takes two to be able to see the light and the darkness. And thank you, Shannon. Yeah, this was a challenging one to get out, you know, especially to say it in a way that, you know, when people have not heard these things before, it is a bit of a challenge to say it, you know, but it's taken me a long time to be able to say it, you know. And anyway, you got to hear first, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to go to a quick half a song, and I'll be right back. It's just going to give me pace myself, okay? You are tuned in right here, and want to welcome any of our new listeners to the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here. 2 minutes. And by the way, whoever can decode this message, okay, the bottom, what is the word, ladies and gentlemen, okay? See if you can do it before the end of the song. Whoever decodes the message then gets a free PDF of the dictionary or Book of Wisdom, whatever they like, okay? Crystal clear. Thank you, Ninja. You got it. Got the picture. Okay. Okay, thank you for that, Shannon. What is the word? What is it? Okay, Ashley, you win. Ash wins. You let me know on the side, Ash. Email me, contact@freeamericaradio.com. Contact@freeamericaradio.com, and tell me what you want. The Book of Wisdom, the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, the Original Thought Transliteration Project with the Sample Dictionary on that, the Original Gospel, sample of the Original Gospel. Okay, those three works: Real Da Vinci Code Dictionary, or the Book of Wisdom, or the Original Gospel with the latest dictionary attached. Okay, through one of three items. Let me know. And thank you to our special friend who created this picture and sent it in. Everybody's playing with the words now. I will be there. I'll be here. I will be here right now. TheRealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. But they didn't want you to know, but we give a hoot and don't pollute. All right, and welcome back. So we got that one, and that was fantastic. And somebody's right on it. Doesn't take long. And so now, real quick, before we get into our book of Genesis, I want to try to just go over a couple quickies, and that is the Nag Hammadi library, okay? And we're in the star message of Tomah on 15 now. And I thought, fall on your, oh, I did that one already. 16. We're on 16 in the star message of Tomah, or what's called incorrectly the Gospel of Thomas. 16. Yeshua breathed. Perhaps people will think I have come to impose peace upon the world. They do not know that I have come to impose conflict upon the earth. Fire, sword, and war. For there will be 5 in a house, and there will be 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. Father against son, and son against father, and they will all stand alone. Or they may find themselves standing alone. I think that's what it means, that when you find the truth, you'll very often find that nobody's embracing it other than you. Like you see, how hard is it to explain these things to people, right? How do you begin to tell them about things they never heard? How do you deprogram them from the deception that they bought into? The religion of the world. It's not an easy thing, and they'll think you're crazy, okay? But absolutely, and that's what the truth does, right? Because people, it's easier to buy into the lie, and people get caught up in it, So okay, so we're in the star message of truth, and we're in the only love seed reveals what is new. Okay, the beloved Son reveals what is new, which beloved should be the only love seed reveals what is new. Knowledge, there's the word knowledge right there, right out the gate. The know the owl's edge. Knowledge, first word, of the Father and the revelation of his Son gave them the means of knowing. Okay, there you go. So knowledge is a code, or no question about it. That was one I worked on a long time. I've got it on my 3x5 cards. It's just buried in 3x5 cards now. So K is a Kano. You see the K is a silent symbol, and it's Kano. And good morning, Sunfire. Good to have you out of UK. Okay, working in the garage. Way to go. So Kano, you can see the word Kano is really K-N-O-W. There's a code right there. So if we put vol in front of it, you know what you get? Volcano. So the volume of the fire of the now. So Kano could be interpreted as the fire of the now, right? The fire of the now, which is burning in our hearts and burning above us in the solar array. So knowledge and knowing the edge or the ledge, right? The edge of what it is. Okay, so a little bit on that. So knowledge of the Father and the revelation of his Son gave them the means of knowing. The revelation, key part here, the revelation of his Son. That's it. That's the key knowledge right there. I'm going to highlight it. The revelation of his Son gave them the means of knowing. Gave them the means of knowing. We didn't have it prior because he is our reference point. He is represented by the Son. He's the logo. He's represented by the Son. That's this great symbol. For when they saw and heard him, he let them taste him and smell him and touch the only loved seed. Okay, so of course, tasting being a metaphor, and smell being a metaphor, and touch, obviously it's metaphysical. We don't touch him physically, we touch him metaphysically, and touch the only loved seed, the only love, making a distinction between all the corruption of the world and one, the perfect creation that we are to embrace and become one with. He appeared informing them of the great Father, the illimitable, or maybe we could just say the illuminated, because I know the words of corruption here, but and he inspired them with what is in the thought. He inspired them by what is in the thought, doing his will, of doing his will. He inspired them by the thought of what he inspired them with, what is in the thought of doing his will. Many received the light and turned toward him, but material people are strangers to him and do not discern his appearance or recognize him. There you go. For he came in the likeness of flesh, and nothing blocked his way, for incorruptibility simply cannot be grasped very easily. Moreover, while saying new things and speaking about what is in the great Father's heart, he produced the faultless word. That's Yeshua. The faultless word, the Shavor, actually, the faultless Shavor, that's the royal center. That's the Son again, and that's also the Great Spirit. The Shavor, the flaming sword that points in every direction, the light, the rays of light, the shower, the shine, the seed. The light spoke through his mouth, and his voice brought forth life. He gave them thought and comprehension and mercy and soul salvation, and the great breath of the wind and fire of strength from the Father's infinity and sweetness. He made punishments and afflictions cease, for they caused those in need of mercy to stray from him in error and bondage. And he destroyed them with the eye of return and confounded them with knowledge. It's like the occult, right? They got all that head knowledge and it serves them not. He destroyed them with their own arrogance, therefore. He became the way of those who strayed, knowledge of those who were ignorant, revelation for those who were seeking, strength and support for those who struggle, purity for those who were defiled. And when we pick it up again, it will be the parables of the sheep. And that is the star message of truth. And you've been hearing it, and there is no contradiction. It's speaking the truth from one of the deepest wells, the Nag Hammadi library. And they took it over and they corrupted it. They didn't want you to get the picture. So we're in the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Traditional Symbols by J.C. Cooper, Thames and Hudson. And the symbolism of lungs, really short. Lungs, Chinese, the seat of the perfection of light. The lungs are the symbol of the seat of the perfection of light. The breath, okay? The breath, the breathing, right? Absolutely, Ash. Okay, so it's all about the breath. And so it is the seat of the perfection of light, the breath. The source of inner thoughts. The breath is the source of inner thoughts. It is breathed into you. Breathed into you. One of the 8 precious things of Buddha. Okay, so 8 is a significant number because it's the number of return. Okay, it is one of the 8 precious things of Buddha, symbolized by the sacred canopy. Symbolized by the sacred canopy. Okay, the sky, symbolized in the sky then. All right, so just got a little bit of that. And then we've got, get ready to get to the Genesis again. Just one more definition here out of the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths by Gaskell. And it's about Visya. And the Visya we read about in the original gospel. In the original gospel, okay? And actually, I think before we get into the book of Genesis, we'll bring on Yah Love when we go to the song. We'll bring her on because that'll be almost halftime, and that'll be a good time to break. So so Visya, or the agricultural caste. So as we talked about, and it declared plainly, and as nobody can deny in the original gospel. It talked about the caste system, how the Aryan Brahmins set up slavery. And so the yellow people, what we call the Oriental, there's the Orient again, the people of the East, from the breast, and the Visya were the agricultural people, the agricultural caste, a symbol, the Visya, a symbol of the astral self or desire nature in the astral body of the earthly being. The Visya are commanded to, now this is out of the laws of Manu, I guess it's their slavery manual. The Visya are commanded to tend the cattle, to bestow gifts, to offer sacrifices, to study the Veda, to trade, to lend money, and to cultivate land. Laws of Manu. And that, while I was reading that, I was thinking of what we call the Giza Pyramid, which is the pyramid of the horizon. And it was acknowledged that Khufu was the ruler at that time, the puppet ruler. And isn't it interesting that he's Oriental? So before the flood, the puppet kingdom had on the throne in the land that was for agricultural purposes because of the Nile River, right? It was a center hub of plantation because of the river, and so naturally, if the Orientals were the cultivators, then it makes sense that Khufu would look like an Oriental because that was before the flood, when the Great Pyramid was made by Melchizedek, Shem for Yahweh. Shem being Melchizedek, also being the incarnation of Yeshua at that time. The reason Abraham gave him 1/10 of the spoils, because he is the one who made all things, who was incarnate in the flesh at that time. Nobody tells this story, apparently. The Visya, and that's why all the writings found about Melchizedek are all destroyed. Even in the Nag Hammadi, there's all these missing fragments. You can't read it; it's too broken. They destroyed our heritage and our story about Melchizedek. Hebrews has a good reference to it. The Visyas are commanded to tend the cattle, to bestow gifts, to offer sacrifices, to study the Veda, to trade, to lend money, and to cultivate land. Laws of Manu, Volume 1, 89. The desired nature is to nurture the better emotions, to help the lower nature to develop, to give up the lower for the higher condition, to submit to the spiritual law, Veda, of evolution. The spiritual law of evolution. So we're talking about spiritual evolution in there. Okay? To exchange a worse state for a better. Well, I like that idea. To assist towards the transmutation of qualities, and to discipline and make fruitful the lower nature, symbolized by the land. That's why Jerusalem is irrelevant. That's why the promised land was not the real promised land. It was a symbol. It was a type. Okay, because that is the lower nature. That's why Israel fell. Because it was only to give us a picture of something greater. And that's the duality again. You see, there were two promised lands. One was of the earth, and one was a state of being in the true paradise of the mind, the perfect state. See Andrew, astral, austerities, caste, cattle, classes, cultivation, evolution, merchandise, money, raganya, sacrifice, and Veda. Okay, so thought that would be a significant read. We got to know more about these caste systems that they gave to us, these slavery. Well, actually, I guess we can all relate because we've all been made slaves as well, haven't we? You got it, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back from this musical interlude, we'll be with Yah Love and the original gospel, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here, and we're very happy to do that. Yeah, the Book of Enoch. Also, yeah, Jasher. Good books to read, Lynn. Thank you. Okay, stand by. And Ash, if you want to call me to find out what these books are about, you're also welcome to do that as well. And don't forget, we do take calls, ladies and gentlemen. 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. If you got a Skywatcher report, a great live history, or words that they killed or killed us with, then feel free to call in. Free America Radio is our Skype. All one word, Free America Radio. Still says Kingsland, Georgia, but we are in Millersburg, Ohio. RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network, the original gospel with Yah Love. Yah Love, welcome back. Thank you.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
Okay, is it cooling down over there in
yes,
Cologne?
Yes, it's very pleasant now.
Wonderful. Yeah,
perfect.
Cooled up over here in Ohio as well, and how great! Just as my air conditioners were crashing. It's amazing, the timing. So Father is good. And so we're in section 15, Shamek, which is the first annual epic of the Mashiachim ministry of Yeshua. It's interesting that this is the only writing that actually tells us about the three-year ministry. It's got the first annual epic, the second annual epic, and the third annual epic. And you have to always wonder, well, how did they know it was 3 years? Because it is right here. This story was known. And Ash is saying she's under Yah in Virginia. That's right. That's the Virgin Yah, the Virgin Light. That's what that means. So we're in chapter 72, and you've been doing such a great job. You're always practicing, aren't you?
No. Yes. Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay. Well, I know you're a pretty deep study. You just reorganized all of your papers and notes so that you would have quicker reference. You said, or something like that, right?
Yes, I want to make progress, and so I'm doing. I brought it in order, in a certain order. So for me, when I am looking in the papers, I can find it more easily until I have all the dictionary on cards, because I want to do it like you, to put everything on little cards.
Yeah. And
then in alphabetical order. Okay.
And so what is now that you've been breathing the original thought for I guess a couple months now, what is the sensation, in other words, for the benefit of our friends, because I don't know anybody else, has not confirmed for me that they're transliterating as they read. I assume they're trying it, but what is the experience for you of transliterating and breathing the original thought at the same time, transliterating at the same time?
Yeah, well, the difference that I can make, I study the Bible, the so-called Bible, only since 6 years that I opened up that book, really, the King James. And now to compare with that, I can say the original gospel that we are reading, the Star Message, is so much deeper with the transliteration, Shavors, that you developed over the 40 years. I can say this is absolute truth. It makes sense to me. My heart is overwhelmed and joyful and full of enlightenment, because I see that is everything true, and it makes sense to me. And well, I can only speak for myself. Everyone has to make his own experience, but I confirm also with my Germanic background that the Shavors that you are transliterating are true. For me, absolutely making sense.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And we just confirmed the meaning of vol. Vol, you confirmed for me, I think it was yesterday, actually means full, right? Full. And so
full, yes.
Yeah. And so when we and that's because you know the Germanic, and so when we're talking about ya vol he, in other words, it means the completion that goes round. So it means the sun that goes round, and the sun and moon, but the completion as well, the beginning and the end. And so that is the power of knowing the original thought, when you can get more pictures by going back and rebuilding these structures. Just like the other day, it came clear to me. I knew that grace in the euphemism meant favor for all. That's what grace is. It's a favor for everyone. Anyone can come. But even though it seems like nobody's coming, and that's where we get the picture of the Grim Reaper, because nobody's going, not really, because they're on the merry-go-round and they're stuck in the falsehood and false tradition. But then I looked at it again and I said, okay, wait a minute. The G is the symbol of the sun, and then the second word is race, and obviously, and so obviously it means the race of mankind. It's not one specific race, but grace implies the sun race, and so it is a race for the sun. It is a race towards the light. But then I realized that literally what grace meant in the deeper sense, above favor for all, the literal sense going back to original thought, it literally means the sun shining down on everyone. That's what grace and favor for all means. It's the sun shining down on everyone. Like Yeshua said, he lets the sun to shine down on the good and on the bad. Everyone gets the benefit.
Yes, yes, it's one wow after another one. That's great. Beautiful.
Yeah. So it keeps unfolding, and the more we work with it, so I'm being stimulated through working, and doing the program every day, and so I'm seeing things for the first time. We capture it right here on the broadcast, and so that's the beauty. In other words, we've got to work with it. We got to plow the field, and then we're going to get a greater harvest, and then it secures us more tightly within our spiritual nature, and thus causes us to want to even leave the world more. So it's an ongoing process. It's a journey, and it's an enlightenment. And so and now we're in chapter 72, and that is 36 times 2. 36 is 72 is a power number representing two 36s. 36 is well, if you add up all the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and keep going, add all those numbers up till you get to number 36, include 36, add all those first numbers up, then they all add up together up into 666, which is, again, the number of a star. But then you add 36 times 2, and you get 72, so there's your duality. It's implying in the number 72, the cosmic number, it represents the duality again. It's saying that there's two stars. There's a true one and a false one, the imitation and the reality. And so 72 is also the number of the cycle of one degree. It's 1 degree of the great cycle, or the great clock, in the galaxy, where we go around the galaxy every 24,000 or 20 give or take 24,500 years. We go around the big clock, and it's a 72 year for 1 degree in the great clock of the galaxy that we go around in. So 72 significant. So let's find out where it's going to take us, Yalla.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's the first annual epoch of the Moshiachin ministry of Yeshua. The Judean Paschal feast time came, and Yeshua left his mother in Capernaum and journeyed to Jerusalem. And the eye abode with one of the Sadducees, whose title was Judah. And when the eye reached the temple courts, the multitudes were there to see the navigator, who the people thought had come to break the yoke of Rome, restore the royal domain of the restore the kingdom of the Judeans, and rule on David's throne. And when the people saw him come, they breathed, Rise and be healed. See the royal ruler, the royal Melech. But Yeshua answered not. The eye saw the money changers in the house of the great Olafim, and the eye gate was grieved. The courts had been converted into marts of trade, and blood of the earth were selling lambs and doves for offerings and sacrifice. And Yeshua called the priests and breathed, You must see and read it for yourself. For paltry gain, you have sold out the temple of Yahweh. This house ordained for creating light is now a den of thieves. Can light and darkness dwell together in the courts of the great Olafim? I tell you, no. And then the eye made a scourge of cords and drove the merchants out. The eye overturned their boards and threw their money on the floor. The eye opened up the cages of the captive birds and cut the cords that bound the lambs and set them free. The priests and scribes rushed out and would have done him harm, but they were driven back. The common people stood in his defense. And then the rulers breathed, "Who is this Yeshua you call Royal Malik?" The people breathed, "The I is the Moshiach, of whom our navigators wrote. The I is the royal ruler who will deliver Israel." The rulers breathed to Yeshua, "Blood of the earth, if you be the royal Malik or the Moshiach, then show us signs. Who gave you the right to drive the merchants out?" And Yeshua breathed, "There is no loyal Judean who would not give his life to save this temple from disgrace. In this I acted simply as a loyal Judean, and you yourself will bear me witness to this truth. The signs of my Messiah state will follow me in Shavors and in deeds. And you may tear the temple down, and you will tear it down, and in 3 days it will be built again, more glorious than before." Now Yeshua meant that they might take his life, tear down his...
Yeah, I'm going to stop you. That was perfect. What verse was that you just read?
18. I was 17.
17. And no, where he said he'd rebuild the temple.
Yes.
Oh, I'm on the wrong page. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. And you tear the temple down, and in 3 days build it again. So I had to jump in. I was
Yeah, sure.
fixing something for my throat, and I had to run in here because there's, again, the duality. You see, we got 2 temples. One of them is a man-made temple, right? And we were told not to cut blocks. And good morning to the Deplorable Duck. Good to have you. And but now we're hearing about another temple, and it is the temple that was made by Yahweh, right? We are the temple. It's not a building. We are the temple. And so, as we were just talking about the duality and themes, and the first Adam versus the second Adam, and the sun, and the Garden of Adams versus the Garden of the Earth. The Earth is not preferred. We prefer the Garden of the Atoms, which is the creation of light from the beginning. And so the same thing. Now we're getting a picture of the real temple, and it has nothing to do with man's construction. It's already made from the beginning, right?
Yes.
There you go. Back to you.
Absolutely. Now Yeshua meant that they might take his life, tear down his body, temple of the only true anointed pure great breath of light, and the eye would rise again. The Judeans knew not the meaning of his Shavors. They laughed his claims to scorn, and they breathed. A multitude of blood of the earth were 40 and 6 years in building up this house, and this young stranger claims that he will build it up in 60 hours. His Shavors are idle, and his claims are naught. And then they took the scourge with which the eye drove the merchants out, and would have driven him away. But Philo, who had come from Mizraim to attend the feast, stood forth and breathed, "You blood of the earth of Israel, hear. This blood of the earth is more than the blood of the earth. Take heed to what you do. I have myself heard Yeshua spark, and all the winds were still. And I have seen him touch the sick, and they were healed. The eye stands a sage above the sages of the world, and you will see his star arise, and it will grow until it is the full orbed sun of righteousness, of perfection of light. Do not be hasty, blood of the earth. Just wait, and you will have the proofs of his Messiah estate." And then the priests laid down the scourge, and Yeshua breathed, "Prepare, true and perfect Israel. Prepare to meet your royal Malik. But you can never see the royal Malik while you press blindness as such a precious idol to your hearts." The royal Malek is the great Olaf Haim. The pure in heart alone can see the face of the great Olaf Haim and live. And then the priests cried out, "This fellow claims to be the great Olaf Haim. Is not this sacrilege? Away with him." But Yeshua breathed, "No blood of the earth has ever heard me breathe. I am a royal Malek. Our father, the great Olaf Haim, is royal Malek. With every loyal Judean, I worship the great Olaf Haim. I am the candle of Yahweh, a flame to light the way. And while you have the light, walk in the light." Chapter 73.
Yeah. And by the way, when Philo said you will see his star rise, what he really, the way it should be transliterated correctly is you will see his sunrise. Because the sunrise is when he rises from the dead, right? That's the sunrise.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Next day, the multitudes were searching through the temple courts, intent on hearing Yeshua spark. And when the eye came, the people breathed, "Rise rise, O healer, rise, the royal Malek." Can you correct me on that again, please?
What verse?
It's verse 2. "All hail, behold the King."
And okay, so on the next day, the multitude seeing him in the temple courts when, on hearing Yeshua speak, and when he came, the people, said, "Everyone rise!" Yeah, everyone rise. Yeah, I think it's just, maybe they were saying, "Be healed," if they recognized he was actually the Mashiach.
Yeah.
Then they could be saying, "Rise and be healed." So you must see him for yourself, the royal ruler. I think they're seeing him on the physical plane, and so they are not necessarily. Well, he had probably been healing people already, so they would probably say, "Everyone rise and be healed. You must see and read it for yourself, the royal Malek." So that's the way I would say it.
Okay, so rise and be healed. You must see and read it for yourself, the royal Malek. And Yeshua sparked the parable, and he breathed. A king had vast domains. His people all were keen and lived in peace. Now after many years, the king breathed to the people, Take these lands, and all I have. Enhance their values. Rule yourselves and live in peace." And then the people formed their states, selected governors and petty kings. But pride, ambition, selfish greed, and base ingratitude grew fast, and kings began to war. They wrote in all their statute books that might is right, and then the strong destroyed the weak, and chaos reigned through all the vast domain. And a long time passed, and then the king looked out on his domain. He saw his people in their cruel wars. He saw them sick and sore distressed. He saw the strong enslave the weak. And then the eye breathed, "What shall I do? Shall I send forth a scourge? Shall I destroy my people all?" And then his heart was stirred with pity, and the eye breathed, "I will not send a scourge. I will send forth my only son, heir to the throne, to teach the people love and peace and perfection of light." The eye sent his son. The people scorned him and maltreated him and nailed him to a cross. The eye was entombed, but death was far too weak to hold the prince, and the eye arose. The eye took a form blood of the earth could not kill, and then the eye went again to teach people love and peace and perfection of light. And thus the great Olaf Haim deals with blood of the earth. A lawyer came and asked, "What does Moshiach mean?" And who has right to make Moshiach of the blood of the earth? And Yeshua breathed, Moshiach is one sent from the great Elohim to seek and save the lost. Moshiach are not made by blood of the earth. In first of every age, Moshiach comes to light the way, to heal up broken hearts, to set the prisoners free. Moshiach and Christ, in this case, Moshiach, are one, because the blood of the earth claims to be Moshiach is not a sign that he is Moshiach.
Yeah, and where it says, and the Mashiach and the anointed blood of the earth are one. The anointed blood of the earth.
Anointed. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. The blood of the earth may cause the streams to flow from flinty rocks, may bring storms at will, may stay tempestuous winds, may heal the sick and raise the dead, and not be sent from the great Elohim. All nature is subservient to the will of blood of the earth, and dark, blind blood of the earth, as well as enlightened, have all the powers of mind and may control the elements. The head gives not the proof of true Messiah estate, for blood of the earth by means of intellect can never know of the great Elohim, nor bring himself to walk in light. Moshiach lives not in the head, but in the heart, the seat of mercy and of love. Moshiach never works for selfish gains. The eye stands above the carnal self. His shavors and deeds are for the universal enlightenment. Moshiach never tries to be a king or a ruler, to wear a crown and sit upon the earthly throne. The royal ruler is earthy, the king is earthy of the earth. Moshiach is the blood of the earth from the universe, from the throne of the sun. And then the lawyer asked, why do you pose as king? Yeshua breathed, no blood of the earth has ever heard me say to us, breathe, that I am a king. I could not sit in Caesar's place and be the Moshiach. Give unto Caesar what belongs to him, and give unto the great Elohim the treasures of your heart. Chapter 74. It was the Sabbath day, and Yeshua stood among the surging masses of the people in the temple courts and sacred halls. The blind, the deaf, the dumb, and those obsessed were there, and Yeshua sparked the shavor, and they were healed. On some the eye laid his hands, and they were healed. To others the eye just sparked the shavor, and they were restored to health. But others had to go and wash in certain pools, and others the eye anointed with the anointing oil. A doctor asked him why the eye healed in diverse ways, and the eye replied, disease is discord in the human form, and discords are produced in many ways. The body is a harpsichord. Sometimes the strings are too relaxed, and then inharmony results. And sometimes we find the strings too tense, and then another form of discord is induced. Disease has many forms, and there are many ways to cure, to tune anew the mystic harpsichord. Now, when the Pharisees were told that Yeshua healed people on the Sabbath day, they were enraged, and they commanded him to quit the place. But Yeshua breathed. Was blood of the earth designed to fit the Sabbath, or was the Sabbath day designed to fit the blood of the earth? if you had fallen in a pit, and you must, and it is true throughout all time, the Sabbath day had come, and I should pass your way, would you cry out? Let me alone. Would you cry out, let me alone? It is a sin to have, it is a blindness to help me out on Sabbath day. I'll swelter in this filth until another day. You Pharisee, you hypocrites, you know you would be glad to have my help upon the Sabbath day or any other day. These people all have fallen into pits, and they are calling loud for me to help them out. And blood of the earth and the great olive haim would curse me should I pass along and heed them not. And then the Pharisee returned to breathe their prayers and curse the blood of the earth of the great olive haim, because the eye heeded not their Shavuos. Now, in the evening, Yeshua stood beside a pool. A playful youth had fallen in, and it was drowned, and friends were bearing it away. But Yeshua called the carriers to stop, and then the eye stretched himself upon the lifeless form and breathed into the mouth of the breath of life. And then the eye called aloud unto the soul that had gone out, and it returned. The youth revived and lived, and Yeshua saw a wounded dog. It could not move. It lay beside the way and groaned with pain. The eye took it in his arms and bore it to the home where the eye abode. The eye poured the anointing oil into the wounds. The eye cared for it as though it were a youth till it was strong and well. And Yeshua saw a little boy who had no home, and the eye was hungry. When the eye called for bread, the people turned away, and Yeshua took the youth and gave him bread. The eye wrapped him in his own warm coat and found for him a home. To those who followed him, the mother star breathed, if blood of the earth would gain again his lost estate, the eye must respect the brotherhood of life. Whoever is not kind to every form of life, to blood of the earth, to beast, to bird, and creeping thing, cannot expect the enlightenment of the only true, anointed, pure, great breath of the One. For as we give, so the great olive haim will give to us. Chapter 75.
Okay, and I'm thinking that would be a good place to stop, because now we're on Nicodemus saw. I have a note here. Nicodemus saw a sign. Okay, so let me just move ahead here real quick and look. Okay, let's do Nicodemus. We'll do one more, and then that'll be good. It's short.
Okay, one more?
Yeah, it's short.
Chapter 75. Nicodemus was a ruler of the Judeans, and the eye was earnest, learned, and devout. The eye saw the mother stars singing in the face of Yeshua as the eye talked, but was not brave enough to publicly confess his victory of light in him. So in the night the eye went to talk with Yeshua at the home of Judah. When Yeshua saw him come, the eye breathed, full enlightened are the pure in heart, twice enlightened are the fearless, pure in heart. Thrice enlightened are the fearless, pure in heart, who dare to make confession of their victory of light before the highest court. And Nicodemus breathed, rise and be healed, Mother Star, arise and be healed. I know you are a teacher come from the great olive haim, For blood of the earth alone could never teach as you have taught, could never do the works that you have done. And Yeshua breathed, except a blood of the earth be born again, the eye cannot see the royal Malak. The eye cannot comprehend the Shavors that I spark. And Nicodemus breathed, how can the blood of the earth be born again? Can the eye go back into the womb and come again to life? And Yeshua breathed, the birth of which I spark is not the birth of flesh, except the blood of the earth be born of water and the only true anointed pure great breath of life. The eye cannot come into the royal domain of the only true anointed one. That which is born of flesh is use of blood of the earth. That which is born of the only true anointed pure great breath of light is child of the great Elohim. The winds blow where they please. Blood of the earth hear their voices and may note results, but they know not from whence they come, nor where they go. And so is everyone that is born of the only pure, anointed, true, great breath of light. The ruler breathed, I do not comprehend. Please tell me plainly, what do you mean? And Yeshua breathed, the royal domain of the only true, anointed, pure, great breath of the One is in the shown. Blood of the earth cannot see it with their carnal eyes. With all their reasoning powers, they comprehend it not. It is a life deep hid in the great Elohim. Its recognition is the work of inner consciousness. The royal domain of the world are kingdoms of the world are kingdoms of the sight, and the kingdom or the royal domain of the only true anointed pure great breath of the One is that of victory of light. Its royal ruler is love. Blood of the earth cannot see the love of the great Elohim unmanifest, and so our Father, the great Elohim, has clothed this love with flesh of a son, of a seed of the Son, and that the world may see and know this love made manifest. The seed of the Son must needs be lifted up. As Moshael in the wilderness raised up the serpent for the healing of the flesh, so the seed of the Son must be raised up, that all blood of the earth bitten by the serpent of the dust, the serpent of this carnal life, may live. The eye who believes in him shall have eternal life. For the great Elohim so loved the world that the eye sent forth his only Son to be raised up, that blood of the earth may see the love of the great Elohim. The great Elohim did not send his Son to condemn the world. The eye sent him forth to save the world, to bring blood of the earth to the light. But blood of the earth loved not the light, for light reveals their wickedness. Blood of the earth loves darkness. Now, everyone who loves the truth comes to the light. The eye does not fear to have his works made manifest. The light had come, and Nicodemus went his way. The eye knew the meaning of the birth of the only true anointed, pure great breath of light. The eye felt the presence of the breath in his soul. And Yeshua tarried in Jerusalem for many days and taught and healed the sick. The common people gladly listened to his chavors, and many left their all of carnal things and followed him. Let there be light.
All right, let there be light. Thank you, y'all love. And
thank you all for listening.
Yes, and just to mention, typically when you hear her say "shul," she's just the S always has an H on it because the original tradition would not make the serpent sound, the S, and so they always had an H in front of the S, and it was the sh, and so soul is actually shul or shul. Well, we're compromising in the middle ground with shul, not to deviate too much away from the sound by saying shul, but soul is shul, and also shul. Shul is the most primitive, and it means the place of knowledge, and that's the mind. And so, because we are a conscious entity, and but then the symbolism, of course, is the S is the serpent, and the ul, the shul, S-A, not O-W-L. That's a corruption, so we wouldn't get the picture. It's actually O-O-L, and so it is the shul or the shul. Okay, there you and or the and so S-O-O-L is the serpent and the owl. The serpent is the body, and the owl is the mind that has the ability to see in the night. Has the ability. But people don't know they're owls. They don't know that they can reach a plane of higher consciousness. They can be separate from this world. They can take off in flight and never come back. But the symbolism is the serpent and the owl. And so we have to kill the serpent, which is the self, the flesh, and to quicken it through knowledge, and then ultimately the spirit that we receive from the great breath of the wind and fire, and the owl takes off and transcends this world. That's what we have to do, this transcend the world. So it's beautiful symbolism. That helps us to get the picture, and so anyway, just want to clarify that because I know some of you are hearing this for the first time, and so and for Ash, yes, he healed a dog. We got another lost writing coming out of Tibet. We hope to read real soon, and it's Yeshua saved a horse from being beaten to death. He saved birds and animals. It's a profound story. He was saving everybody. Any cruelty towards any creature, he was putting an end to it. So it's really such a powerful, and of course when we realize he made everything, it makes sense that he would want all things treated respectfully. And so lots of revelation in all these symbols and metaphors, and we have to get pictures. That's the road back. Okay, so y'all love, thank you. I see you're already on the chat room, and so I will let you go, and do have a great evening out there. Okay,
thank you so much, Desert.
In the old world. Okay, we'll talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
and I just have to grab my book stand with my books on it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be good to go. I'll just put some music on just to cover for that little time I'm going to do it. I'll be right back. Don't go away. And Mew Mew, good to have you. Let there be books. We've got books, and we're doing a review of the book of Genesis. If you want to get your book, ladies and gentlemen, and follow along, okay? And I watched a a documentary I saw last night. I've seen it before a few years ago, and it is on the Grand Canyon. If you wanted to see it yourself, it is called, what is it called? It went in my sent items, I think. Hang on. Okay, yeah, Geological History of Earth. A Geological History of Earth. Wonder if I can just copy the words and put it in the, I think that's what I'll try to do here. Let me see if I click on that. And I go here. Huh, okay, I'm trying to figure, I hit forward. All right, I'll get it. I'll work it out. Hang on. This way, it's 45 minutes, and it shows how the Grand Canyon was made. And it's just so powerful to see this. I'm having to click back now. Hang on. All right, and let me pop that in the chat. Control V. There you go. If you want to see a good documentary, and it shows the age of the Earth. And what amazes me is basically their timelines are really right on for everything. You're going to see what I consider to be a very accurate depiction of how the Grand Canyon was made. But more than that, they talk about the age of the Earth. Okay, that the Earth is about 3 billion years old, and the sides of the canyon in the Grand Canyon, when you get to the bottom, take us back about 1.5 billion years. But the Grand Canyon is only about 5 million years old. And that's when an inland sea began to flow out into what we call the Grand Canyon, and so it's just very well done, okay. And I've been looking at this stuff all my life, and I know that they got the times, and they unraveled the mystery. They show you the evidence, okay. Evidence is everything. So check it out. So let me see here my notes. Okay, so yeah, just check that out, because we're all the geological evidence is around us for the age of the Earth. Okay, there's no denying the ancient landmarks that are all around us that show the age of our Earth. And so they wanted us, the priesthood wanted us to just imagine the Earth was made in 6 24-hour periods, right? And so what's Yeshua's hurry? What's the problem? You know, that he's got to, you know, when he's here forever, no beginning, no end, right? And so they didn't want us they wanted to give us a simple version, you know, just like the flat Earth thing, you know, just simple explanation, without any depth of the real, true artistic creativity of Yahweh. You know, his patience, his endurance. Where's he going? He's always been here, always will be here, right? Yahweh. So this is a great presentation that will be very beautiful to watch. There's the scenery, but also the story behind it. So check it out, and let me know what you think. All right. So let me get my drink over here. Hang on. I'm sorry. This is the Real Public Radio. I'm just multitasking here, and it makes for bad radio, but we are the Real Public Radio. Let me put my microphone up so it's a little closer. That's going to help. And that was a great read with Yah Love, wasn't it? I'm telling you. It's wonderful to have, you know, a second witness on the ability to read, to see and read it, you know, and all of you can do it, and you can have fun doing it, okay? And then it's a way to show maybe somebody. The chat, it says the chat is disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Oh, okay, and now it's reconnected again. Okay, that's interesting. So we're now in the book of Genesis. Let me open up here, and we're in, okay, we're in chapter 2, and my note is right here on verse 8. Okay, so did I need to back up for anything? Well, let's see where we're going here. So, and the Lord, and I'm going to read the King James the way it is, and whatever scriptures you have, that's fine. But I want to show that you can see it in King James, and I'll show you the mistranslation where they played their tricks on us. Okay, and so, and the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden. Okay, so the cue here is that it's eastward. What is in the east but the sun? The sun rises in the east. That's the breast. We talk about that. And in the Orient, they call the sun the Orient. That's the orientation because that's where it all began, and that is the center of our universe. Okay, that's the solar system. It is a solar system. Everything came out from the light, and so Eden is the atom. And so let me read it again. And Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, planted and the garden is Galnun, is the Ganun, and there's the noon is the represents the sun. That's what we call noon because it's always at high noon. It's always shining, and it's the earth that is spinning, so the earth can benefit from the Ganun, the garden of the atom. So it's the Ganun of the atom, but it's the garden of the atoms. Okay, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So he just formed Adam out of the fiery magma, and he placed him up into the throne of the sun. And so Adam was the first made on earth. After the earth and the water was here, the earth divided the waters from the waters, and then there a fountain, a great powerful fountain. It says powerful in the Aramaic. It was a powerful fountain that came forth and poured out on the earth, and then we have what in Native American traditions called the blood clot boy. No, it's Ganun, Gan apostrophe Noon, Ganun, like a gun, because it is the big gun. And Ganun is the same word that we get the word cannon, the big gun from. Okay, there's no bigger gun in our universe than the sun, in our solar system. Okay, so Adam became the living, breathing soul, serpent and the owl, and he was taken up to the throne of the sun, into the garden of the atoms, where his life is preserved, obviously by the Spirit. And by the way, we do have revelations with Enoch, and also with G-A-N-N-O-O-N, G-A-N apostrophe N-O-O-N, Gan Noon. Well, yeah, you can spell it G-A-H-N. No, it's G. I'm forgetting. All right, I'm gonna type it. Okay, I'm sorry because I'm doing it from memory, and it's like this. Okay, there it is. Forgive me. Everybody's trying to figure it out here, so there it is. Okay, so Ganun, and the GH is the symbol of return. So because what comes out of the sun then is expecting a harvest, and that's the word Anna about the harvest. What goes out comes back. It reads both ways, yin and yang. Okay, and good morning, Liz. Great to have you. So there's the garden of the atoms, and he put the man there, the blood of the earth there, while he made all things. Let's continue. And out of the ground, so therefore, out of the ground, the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and excellent for food, and the tree of life as well in the center of the Ganun. And so the tree of life is the sun. The light is the life. Okay, that's where all life comes from, is the light energy, the source. And the tree of knowledge of light and darkness, and the tree of knowledge is also the sun. But then the man and woman also represent these trees. The man represents the tree of knowledge. That was Adam, the Ganun, the Naga, the Nagash, and then Eve is the tree of life, because she has the ability within her to create life. And so it's more than one thing. It's a multiple of symbolism within that. So and a river went out, and so now a river went out of the atom to water the garden. And so, but it is the river of light coming out of the atom. The river of light comes out and therefore brings nurturing to all. It's the four directions. And there it was parted into four heads. And even Philo said that when it talked about, the river, he said it's not a literal river, but the meanings were the word Havilah and the Gihon and the Euphrates. All these words are symbolic and have an interpretation. He implied that these are not literal rivers in what we think of as water. They are have meaning in the name. So I'm going to just go down and read it. The name of the and so the river came out of the atom, a river of light, and it watered the Ganun below. Okay, so and from there it was parted and became into four heads. Even Native American tradition, they put the four directions on their pottery. It's the swastika. That's the symbol of the light particle coming down and the four directions. So, and so the name of the first is the Fei Shan. Fei Shan literally means the mother Fei of light. Okay, so the name of the first is the mother Fei of light. That's the Fei. That's the first time she's mentioned in our scriptures. The Fei is the virgin light that comes down, and it is that which compasses the entire land of the Havilah. And there's the word Avalon. You see, the H is the, and Havilah, Avalon, and that's the land of Ave. I didn't do the dissection of the word, but the word Avalon is there. That's the original word for what we think of when we say heaven or paradise. And where there is gold, well, the gold is now talking about the truth. Okay, now it's talking about the truth because it's symbolism, and the gold of that land is perfect, and there's bdellium and the onyx stones there as well. Okay, and I'd have to do a whole study on all these words here to go back into their meaning. But and then 13, and the name of the second river is Gihon, and the name of that is that which compasses the entire land of Ethiopia. You see, what they did is they took the words and they put them on rivers like Euphrates and Tigris, but those aren't the rivers. They're playing the trick on us. All right, that's all they're doing. That's what the priesthood does. Because this is the river of light that came out of the sun that shines down. That's the first river, the river of creation. And the name of the and Gihon is the name of it which compasses the entire land of Ethiopia. Okay, well, we know it's the Nile that comes out of Ethiopia, right? The Nile, and into Mitzrayim, Egypt. And 14, and now the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is which goes toward the east in Assyria. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. And 15, and Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, took the man, and he put him into the garden of the atom to help prepare it and to keep it. So he's in the garden of the atom, and he's helping participate in the dressing of the earth, which is the lower garden, and to maintain it. And 16, and the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may eat freely, but the tree of knowledge and of good and evil you shall not eat it, for the day that you eat thereof you shall die. I'm looking for, yeah, okay, I see, it's coming up. The order as well has been corrupted. And I'll stop for a minute because I learned that the rabbis have a special version of their own. Okay, it has wide margin, and in the wide margin they have a little conference table every now and then, and the little conference table is where they're showing that they changed the scriptures, so they would know where the switch outs occurred. Okay, and so this was revealed to me one day by somebody who got a copy, who knew, had a relative in that tradition. So continuing in verse 18, and Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, breathed, it is not good that blood of the earth should be alone, and I will make a helpmate for him. And out of the ground Yahweh formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. Okay, so Hadam, that's where we get, when I looked up the other the name Adam in the scriptures, it said dictum. Dick was, and that's where we get dictionary and diction and dictate, you see? And so it has to do with the creation of things. And so Adam, while he's up in the throne of the sun, in the atom, which is falsely called Eden, the corruption, in the atom, he's naming everything. And continuing on in 19, and he because it says, and he brought them all unto Adam to see what he would call them. Why? Because he breathed into him the gnosis. He breathed into him the ability to communicate, and he wanted to see through his knowledge that was breathed into him what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature dictum, whatever was the dictum that he called every living creature, that was the name thereof. 20, and Adam gave names to all cattle and to all the fowls of the air and to every beast of the field. But you have to realize it was before everything was made. And so he's up there in the atom where the river of life flows out. The river of life. Okay? And because creation is going on. And Adam is up there with Yeshua in the throne of the sun for the millions of years that creation is going on. And this is part of the great mystery. And of course, you never heard this before. And it's been a lifetime, to get these pictures. Actually, we're talking about probably Adam was in the atom, Adam in the atom. You see, you get the picture of the duality. The atom, the dictum is in the atom, atom, adam is in the atom. And that's the duality again. You see, it's called the duplication. Adam is becoming the duplicate of Yeshua. Yeshua is the perfect man, but Adam is not. Because Adam is made by Elohim, where Yeshua was made by Yahweh. And when Yahweh makes something, it is perfect. Take care, Anna. Good to have you join us, all right? Thank you. Peace and love. Okay. So he gave the names to all things. But for Adam, there was not found a helpmate for him. And so it said, and so Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, caused the deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And that's when he came out of the atom and was put in the garden of the earth. Here it goes. And he took one of his ribs, and he closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, had taken from man, the blood of the earth, made he a woman. And woman means the judgment of man. Woe means judgment, and it's the judgment of man, because now a duplicate is coming out of him. A duplicate is coming out of him, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and she is called woman, because she was taken out of man. And therefore shall a blood of the earth, now this is the corruption, and because it says, for this reason man will leave his father and mother and will cleave unto his wife. But the truth is, it's the woman who leaves the mother and father and clings to her husband, a switch out. Okay? Why? We see that in the story, right? In all the stories, it was the woman. They went into Laban's land, to Lebanon, and they got their wives, and the wives came back because the man keeps the estate. And they reversed it here. That's evidence of a lie. Okay? And so it is the woman will leave her father and mother and cling to her husband, and they will be one flesh. And they were both naked, and the man and his wife were not ashamed. Okay? And so I'm just backing up for a minute. I want to see something. So you have to make the distinction that there's two gardens here. And now the serpent was more subtle. And now but it says in Strong's, Naga. The Naga was more subtle. So they changed it to serpent. But as we've talked about, the fact that you have to put on shirt and pants, you find out that when you put on shirt and pants and say it 3 times, It's the serpent. The serpent. Because they're telling you you're the serpent, you see? But they don't tell you in the story because they don't want you to get the picture, because Adam knew how everything operated in this universe, because he was with Yeshua for like 3 billion years in the throne of the Son while they created all life on the earth. Okay? While it all continued to grow and to evolve from first sea life and then to the land mammals, birds of the air, all of it, through all the processions. And the other races of man were here first. The Aryan came last through our Adam and Eve. The Cro-Magnon, the Neanderthal, the Paracas, the African were all here prior to the last man. Okay, the last man being the Aryan. And this is the great mystery of the story about how mankind was enslaved and why the Aryan knew so much and could create the great monuments. Okay, and they bred giants. And they bred giants. How did they do that? Well, that's something we'll probably never really know. We can only speculate. But now the Naga was more subtle than any beast of the field. Of course, he was enlightened. He was the enlightened being. Not the snake. The snake is a symbol. Man is the serpent. He's the Naga. Okay? Yahweh, and the Naga was more subtle, knowledgeable than any beast of the field. Yeah, he was more knowledgeable. He dominates all the animals of the field. And Yahweh was the great Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, yeah, hath not God said that you should not eat of every tree of the garden? I'm just looking back for a minute. Well, where he called her woman, he's saying you're the mother of all living. That was the other thing. You know, you got to read the different versions. You'll find out, like in the Septuagint, you know, it says it differently. And so I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to pick it up and try to review a few notes before I go further. Because this is where the fall occurs in the symbolism and also in the literal sense. But, you know, I'm getting talked out here, and I want it, you know, the reason I want to cut it right now is because I got the New Testament Apocrypha, and every Saturday I do the Act of Toma, okay, and I want to pick up on that. So I'll leave it here for now, and just meditate on these things and realize how they've, you know, adjusted our scriptures. They changed the words, okay. We have all the evidence of that, and so you have to see it with the inner eye, and it will open up for you. Let me just put this back, pick up the song, and we'll be right back, okay? Don't go away. So thick wick. I've got to do the transliteration, and that's the thing. I don't have my word ability yet, so on my new computer. All right. Just give me a second here. I'm going to take some throat tonic. Do we think the priesthood would really have given it to us the way it really is, ladies and gentlemen? These psychopaths that are running the world, you think they would have, yeah, let's just give them the truth, you know? What is saying in Revelations? That the beast system had deceived the entire world? Deceived the entire world. That's quite a deception, right? That's like wholesale. That's everybody. Only a few get to see and read it for themselves. To wake up to this reality of our grand illusion. The truth can be known, ladies and gentlemen. It is Yeshua who's the revealer. You know, I don't, when I share things with you, you know, I do my best to try to give you enough evidence and proof, but I only need to prove it to myself, okay? I would not dare to try to convince anybody. It is a great mystery, and we have to wake up to the things that we have never seen nor heard before, because what we have been handed from the beginning is part truth and part lie, and the truth is not a part of any lie. And the images that we talk about, the symbolism within these images are telling the story. The sun is the great symbol. It is the logo. It was called the word, but the word is a corruption for the word war. That's what they want us to talk about, war. Even the capital letters of your name is called the nom de guerre, a name of war. If your driver's license has you in all capital letters, it means you are the victim of war. The war was waged upon you, on your mind, on your body. So we have to wake up to the truth. It's a wake up. It's not handed to you on a silver platter wrapped in tinseled gold. No, ladies and gentlemen, we have been lied to wholesale. They're having a party, laughing all the way to their banks, and we've got to be able to see and read it for ourselves. So that's why we're here. You're tuned in right here to the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we do tell right here, because that's the great will of the breath of the wind and fire. He is breathing. Only few are going to know the truth. Okay, and so you can be sure that this program series is probably going to be short-lived somehow. We're going to go for as long as we can, but we know that the secret societies and the keepers of the knowledge, that they have it. They know these things. They're just keeping it from the public. Okay, the pubic. You know what I mean? That's then another word game, right? Just like friend is fiend, right? Word trickery. All the words we use are bad. Oh, you're nice. Oh, well, that means you're a little dopey and stupid. Oh, you've got understanding. Oh, well, you must be a drunkard and a fool and a bastard and a child if you've got understanding. Do you want understanding? I don't think so. If you know the truth, right? Everything's a reversal. They've been doing it from the beginning of time, and takes a million lies to cover the first lie. All right, we're in the Acts of Ptolemy, in the 5th act, and it's been quite an interesting story. He went to India. You just have to go listen to the past Saturdays if you want to hear that story. Every Saturday of the last 5 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, we've been going in here. Okay, approximate. Concerning the dark natures that dwell in the woman. Concerning the dark natures that dwell in the woman. Okay, well, let's find out about that. Something wrong with the guys, too. We can't leave them out, but right now. So let's see. And the woman being, no doubt, the cosmic woman. I think it's talking about the feminine nature in itself. The royal Malak, the apostle Malak went into the city, and all the people followed him. And he was thinking of going to the parents of the young man, whom he had made alive after it had been killed by the serpent. For they earnestly besought him to come to them and enter into their house. But a very beautiful woman suddenly uttered a piercing cry, breathing, Malak, of the great Olofhaim, who art come to India, and servant of that only true anointed pure one, and the only perfect Olofhaim. For by you he is proclaimed as the Shavor, the savior of the shoals, the serpent and the owl, of those who come to him, and by you are healed the bodies of those who are scourged by the enemy, and you are the eye who has become an occasion of life for all who turn to him. Command me to be brought before you, that I may relate to you what has befallen me, and perhaps from you there may be hope for me, and these who stand beside you may become more confident in the great Olofhaim who you do proclaim. For I am not little tormented by the adversary these past 5 years. As a woman I formerly sat in quiet, and peace encompassed me on every side, and I had no anxiety over anything, for indeed I took no thought for anyone else. But it happened one day, as I came out of the bath, there met me a blood of the earth like one troubled and disturbed, and his voice and his answer seemed to me to be very faint and weak. And standing in front of me, he breathed, I and you will be in one love, and we will associate with one another as a man unites with his wife. And I answered, saying to him, with my betrothed I never united, since I declined to marry. And now shall I give myself up to you? Who do you wish to associate with me as in adultery? And maybe it should be why, I don't know. And when I had said this, I passed on. But I said to the handmaid who was with me, did you see the youth and his shamelessness, how without shame he spoke with me openly? But she said to me, I saw an old man conversing with you, but when I was in my house and had dined, my soul suggested a certain suspicion to me, and especially since he appeared to me in two forms. And having this in my mind, I fell asleep. And in that night, when he came and united with me in his foul intercourse, I saw him also when it was day, and fled for him. But in the night that is akin to him, he came and misused me. And now, as you do see me, I have been troubled by him 5 years, and he has not departed from me. But I know and am persuaded that dark natures and winds and avengers are subject to you, and become all a terrible and become all tremble at your creation of light. Create light for this reason for me, and drive out from me the dark natures that continually vex me, that I as well may be free and may be gathered together into my original nature and receive the gift that has been given to my relations. The royal Malik breathed, true, perfect, and complete darkness, not to be restrained. True, perfect, and complete shamelessness of the enemy. True, perfect, and complete envious one, never at rest. True, perfect, and complete hideous one, that you do subdue the innocent. True, perfect, and complete within the many forms. He appears as he may wish, but his essence cannot be altered. True, perfect, and complete, you from the crafty and faithless one. True, perfect, and complete bitter tree, whose fruits are like him. True, perfect, and complete from the adversary that fights for the foreigner. True, perfect, and complete you from the deceit that uses shamelessness. True, perfect, and complete from the wickedness that creeps like a serpent and is related to it. And when the Malek had breathed this, the enemy came and stood before him, no one seeing him except the woman and the Malek, and with a very loud voice breathed in the hearing of everyone, what have we to do with the Malek of the mother star in the eye of the return? That's most high. What have we to do with you, servant of Yeshua the Mashiach? What have we to do with you, counselor of the only true anointed pure seed of the Son? Sounds like one of our scriptures, doesn't it? I'm trying to remember which one. At the Garden of the Tombs. You see, very similar stories in here, just like we have in our scriptures. Why do you wish to destroy us in our time It is not yet to come. Why do you wish to take our authority? For until this present hour we had hope and time remaining. What have we to do with you? You have authority in your own sphere, and we in ours. Why do you wish to exercise despotic rule against us, especially since you yourself do seed plant into others not to act despotically? Why do you crave what belongs to others as one not satisfied with his own? Why are you made like unto the seed of the sun, who wronged us? See, it's the feminine aspect, it's feminine nature speaking. In another metaphor, it's the jealous goddess. The jealous goddess, you see. For you are altogether like him, as if engendered by him. And here, the footnote, here the Syriac has, why are you like Yavelhe, the great Elohim and the healer, who in his majesty appeared in the body of flesh? And we thought regarding him that he was mortal, but he turned and died and did us violence. Are you then born of him? For we thought to bring him also under the yoke of slavery, even as the rest, but he turned and held us in subjection. For we did not know him, but he deceived us by his form most unsightly, and by his poverty and need. For as we beheld him, and when it talked about need, the first thing I talk about is just like, we have to eat food, right? We have needs here. We're subject to this world, the laws of nature, even though we have the potential of supernatural transcendence, right? For he turned and held us in subjection. For we knew him not, but he deceived us by his form, most unsightly, and by his poverty and need. For as we beheld him, such as he was, we thought that he was a blood of the earth bearing flesh, not knowing that it was he who gives life to mankind. But he gave us authority in our own sphere, and in that in our time we should not abandon our own, but live in them. But you do wish to obtain above what is due and what was given you, and wish and do us violence. And when the dark natures had breathed this, the eye wept, breathing, I leave you, my fairest consort, whom I found a long time ago, and with whom I rested. I forsake you, my steadfast sister, my only loved, in whom I am well pleased. My only loved seed, in whom I am well pleased. What shall I do? What I shall do I know not, nor on whom I shall call that he may hear and help me. I know what I will do. I will go to the places where the fame of this blood of the earth has not been heard. And for you, my only loved seed, I will perhaps find one with another title. And lifting up his voice, he breathed, abide in the shalom of eternal peace, since you have taken refuge in one greater than I. But I will depart and seek one like you. And if I find her not, I return to you again. For I know that while you are near to this blood of the earth, you have your refuge in him. But when he is gone, he will be as you were before he appeared, and him shall you forget. But for me there shall be opportunity and confidence. But now I fear the royal title of the one of the many who hath saved you. And when he had said this, the dark natures vanished. Only as he departed, fire and smoke were seen there, and all who stood by there were astonished. When the royal Malach saw it, he breathed to them. The dark nature showed nothing strange or alien, but his own nature, in which he also will be burned up. For indeed the fire will consume him utterly, and the smoke of him will be scattered abroad. And the eye began to breathe, Yeshua, the hidden mystery that has been revealed to us. You are the eye who has made known to us the many mysteries. Who did set me apart from all my companions, and spake to me these shavors, wherein I am inflamed. I tell them to others I cannot. Yeshua, blood of the earth, slain, a corpse, buried. Yeshua, the seed of the sun, the Shavor, the Savior, who did quicken the dead and heal the sick. Yeshua, who was in need like a poor man. And then it's got the S, and I think it's the symbol for the serpent. And they didn't want to print it here, so they just left the symbol. And a poor man, a serpent. You see, there's the poor man. The poor man is the serpent, ladies and gentlemen. You see, the poor man, yeah, sphere or spirit. Can I hear that word clearly? Well, I think I said sphere, okay, wherever I was reading. And does save one who has no need. The serpent, the sphere is the serpent also. It goes round, okay? So it's all in there. And did save as one who has no need. You who did catch the fish for the breakfast and the dinner. You who did make all satisfied with a little bread. Yeshua, who did rest from the weariness of the journey like a strong blood of the earth, and walk upon the waves like the great Olofim, like the sun moving upon the cosmic sea. You see, the sun is moving upon the cosmic sea, and the sun walked upon waters. Yeshua, mother star in the eye of the return, a voice rising like the sunrise from the perfect mercy, the Shavor of everyone, right hand on of the light, which overthrows the dark blindness, one by his own nature. You who do gather all his nature into one place, you of many forms, who are the only engendered seed, the only love seed, the first engendered, the firstborn of many offspring. Great Olofim, from great Olofim, in the mother star, in the eye of the return, blood of the earth, despised until now. And back into the Syriac. Here the Syriac has Yeshua, right hand of the Father, that means on the power of light of the Father, who has hurled down the blindness, the darkness, under the nature, others to the lowest limit, and has gathered his possessions into a place of enlightenment, a place of assembly, an endowment and enlightenment. Yeshua, the royal Malach over all, who did subdue all things. Yeshua, who art the Father, and the Father in you, and you are one in power, will, in illumination, and the essence. And for our sake, you were named by the royal title, and art the seed and son, and did put on a body, Yeshua, who did become a Nazareth, meaning the light of a star come down, and by the grace provides for everyone like the great Olofim, seed and son of the mother star in the eye of the return, the great Olofim, who did become and was a despised blood of the earth, despised until now. Yeshua, the Mashiach, who did not neglect us when we call upon him, who art become an occasion of life for all mankind, who for our sakes was judged and shut up in a prison, and did set free all who are in bonds, and who was called a deceiver, and did deliver your own from deception. I create light for these who stand here and follow in you, for they crave to obtain your gifts, having perfect hope in the opening of that door, in your help, in having their refuge in your greatness, in your great nature. They have their ears open to give ear and hear from us the burning swords of fire, which are spoken to them, the great Shavors, from the royal center. Let the shalom of eternal peace come and dwell in them, and let it renew them from their former actions, and let them put off the old blood of the earth, the old nature, with his dead action and deeds, and put on the new, who is now proclaimed to them by me. And laying his hands upon them, he barucheth, in made them in born born and endowed with the enlightenment and a mind's eye for seeing in the night, those by breathing the favor for all. And what did I say grace was? The favor for all. Let me not lose my place here. The favor for all, the shining down, the sun shining down on everyone, of our healer and pure breather of light, Yeshua, the Mashiach, be upon you forever. And they breathed, let there be light. But the woman besought him by breathing, Malek of the mother star in the eye of the return, give me the seal, that the enemy may not return to me again. And then he made her come near to him, and laying his hands upon her, sealed her in the royal title of the great Father, and of the Son, and of the only true anointed, pure great breath of light on the wind and wings of fire throughout all time, the pure breath, the Holy Spirit. And many others were also sealed with her. So there's the pouring out right there. You see, it's happening. And the Malach commanded his servant to set a table before them. And he set out a stool which they found there, and by spreading a linen cloth upon it, on the bread of blessing, the baruchim, okay, the unleavened bread. And the royal Malach stood beside it and breathed, Yeshua, who has made us worthy to partake of the bread of the only true anointed pure great body of light throughout all time, and his blood. You must see and read it for yourself. We make bold to approach your body and to call upon your only true anointed pure great royal title. Come you and have fellowship with us. And he began to breathe. Come, great gift of the mother star in the eye of the return, the serpent of light. Come, perfect compassion. Come, fellowship of the masculine. Come, only true anointed pure great breath of light on the wind and wings of fire in the pure serpent. Come, you that do know the mysteries of the chosen. Come, you who have part in all the combats of the noble champion athlete. Come, treasury of the sunrise, the pure serpent, the supporting breath. Come, lover of compassion of the mother star in the eye of the return, the pure serpent. Come in silence. You did reveal the great deeds and action of the whole greatness. Come, you who do show forth the hidden things and make the ineffable manifest. Pure, anointed, great light of the white light, like a dove, that bears the duality in this generation. Come, hidden mother of light, virgin light. Come, you who are manifest in your actions and do furnish the enlightenment and rest for all that are joined with you. Come and partake with us of the pure body we celebrate in your royal title and in the love feast in which we are gathered together at your call. And when he had breathed this, he marked the symbol of that cross upon the bread and broke it and began to distribute it. And first he gave to the woman, breathing, let this be to you for the forgiveness of your blindness, the sunrise again, and eternal transgression, and after her he also gave to all the others who had received the seal of the great breath of the wind and fire. And we'll pick it up right there next time. And I don't know where my note is. Oh, here it is. Okay, number 6. Okay, and just give me a minute, and we're going to pick it up on the history of the church. Actually, I have just a couple words that they killed us with. I'll do that first, and then we'll be in the history of the church. I hope you're all doing okay out there. It's a tough world, and the illusions are great, but we can get through it. I'm just going to do a few short words coming up. And tomorrow we will have a special read. I'm not sure yet what it is, but I will have a special read for tomorrow. All right. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And so let's just do some words that kill real quick. And wisdom. And in the Greek, it is Sophia, but Sophia is an abbreviation, and it's Sol Fe Ya. Sol Fe Ya. So Sophia, I'll type it in here. Okay. And then it's Sol Fe. Okay, so there you can see. That's how they abbreviate words. And because they're components of bigger words that create a picture. The Sol is the sun, and the Fe is the virgin light that comes down. And I got y'all wrong. Forgive me. Okay, Sol Fe Ya. So, and the Ya is that which goes round. That's the virgin light that goes round. The wisdom, symbolic of wisdom. Okay? So that's what the sun represents. The sun represents wisdom. And then Ma'at, M-A-A-T, is an ancient word, and there you can see the duality, the two A's in there, M-A-A-T, and it represents the divine order. The M is the symbol of the mother, the T is the symbol of the father, then from that standpoint. And so in between is the duality, between the male and the female. It's the great mystery. And then spell, I just find it interesting that they want to put us under the spell, and spell is also spill and spoil. So out of the word spell, we get spill and spoil, rather telling, is it not? A spell is spoil, the spoil and the spill. Okay? And also you get the word pill. There's the word pill, right? In spell and spill and spoil, you got pill. So not a very good sign. Then you don't want to take a pill, if that's the case. All right, and so and just a couple more words that kill real quick here in the piracy of words. And we're on the letter O, and we'll just do the O because it's a big definition here. And so the O, the royal O, seen in Rho, R-O-H, as in Faut Rho, as in Kai Rho, as in Rho, R-O-W, and the W is a code. Rho, it's actually Rov, but they made the V a W. As in making circles, Rho, you slaves. 2. Note that you don't find the symbol in the pretended Hebrew. Yeah, there is no circle. How come there's no circle in the Hebrew? The most basic symbol, the original symbol, the O, which came projected down from the A, the bottom of the compass. Okay, alphabet. And it is O is a prime symbol of the sun and of the purist and of the priest occultists. All hate the sun and its bright light, and they love the moon. L, the Luciferian god dress, as symbolized in the letter symbol D, because she closes her eye every month and lets them do whatever they want to do. Since she can't see into those balances in her hand. D for death, darkness, destruction, deception. And I think you know and now get the picture. Yet the Zionist occultists can't avoid this symbol O of the sun, S-O-N, S-U-N, S-V-N. Every time they roll up one in their zeros, the scrolls, the Z-roll for zero and scroll, and the joke is on them. The truth, perfection, the sun, S-U-N, S-O-N, S-V-N, S-E-N, Z-E-N-N, the moon, earth, the serpent eating its tail, infinity, number 1, chevron, 7, Sharfanesh, 666, the beast image, supposedly, the mysterious number, Noonbar, zero. See, wow, one really big O, Mr. Wizard, and class dismissed, Sherman. Okay, so anyway, just a little bit of that, and then I'm going to just do one quick read out of the Real Da Vinci Code on absolute right. Okay, absolute, you know what absolute means, right? Absolute right. So that's a one worthy to read. Remember, there are no rights in man's world, but we have a right before a royal ruler, and because it's an occultic world, so they've got a super sovereignty. But our sovereignty in the Mashiach in Christ is absolute. But let's just see what absolute right says here. Absolute right. This is in the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary. Absolute right as regards right to interfere with contractual obligations of another. Absolute right which a free man may exercise without reference to motive is a natural right incident for the ownership and property, the right growing out of a contractual relationship, and to the right to enter in or refuse to enter the contractual relation, just like when they want you to sign in at the jail. You're not obligated to sign anything. They want you to sign because they're going to create a security and bond your hide. So I wouldn't sign. By the absolute right of a free man is meant those who are in their primary and strictest sense, such as would belong to their own primary being, merely in the state within, the pure nature in which every man is entitled to enjoy, whether out of society or within it, the natural right for private security, in a private free judgment, and for private property, and do not depend upon any constitution for their existence. They existed before the constitutions were made or the government was organized. This is what is termed absolute right, that of a freeman, which belongs with them independently, separate from all government, and which all governments which derive their power from, supposedly, the consent of the governed, were instituted to protect. Well, we know that's a big lie, right? See Constitution, Natural Right, Sovereign, Words and Phrases, Volume 1, 1968, West Publishing Company. And there's your absolute right. It's really the grand illusion in the world. But you do have an absolute right before the great Father of Light, and that is, he will come to your aid in the time of need, ladies and gentlemen. And now, winding down our program today in the history of the church, we've got a short little clip here by Eusebius. Writings accepted as sacred, and those not accepted. It will be well at this point to classify the New Testament writings already referred to. We must, and the New Testament is the everlasting covenant. It was finished from the beginning of time. It's not new, it's old. We must, of course, put first the holy quartet of the star messages, the Gospels, followed by the Acts of the Malach, the royal Malach, the apostles. The next place in the line goes to Shaul, Paul's letters, and after them we must recognize the letters called John, and First John, and likewise First Peter. To these may be added, if it is thought proper, the revelation of John. The arguments about which I will set out when the time comes, these are classified as recognized books. Those that are disputed yet familiar to most include the letters known as James, Jude, and 2 Peter, and those called 2nd and 3rd John, the work either of the evangelist or of someone else with the same name. So, of course, we don't doubt who they're written by, because you can read it for yourself and realize its divine origin. But you see what they were doing back then already. He surrendered over to Constantine, so he's working for the government. So they want to create doubt in people's minds. That's their objective. Among spurious books must be placed the Acts of Paul, the Shepherd. The Shepherd is such a fantastic work in the forgotten books of the Bible, in the forgotten books of Eden, the lost books of the Bible. Absolutely fantastic read. And also the Revelation of Peter, also alleged letters of Barnabas. Barnabas has the most complete answer to the question, what is truth, when Yeshua is standing before Pilate. Wonder how that happened. And the teachings of the apostles. That's the Didache, okay? Didache also genuine work. Together with Revelation of Yochanan. If this seems the right place for it, as I said before, some reject it, others included among the recognized books. Moreover, some have found a place in the list of the Gospel of the Hebrews, a book which has a special appeal to those Hebrews who have accepted the Mashiach. Those would all be classed with the disputed books, but I have been obliged to list the latter separately, distinguishing those writings which, according to the tradition of the circle of the called out one, are true, genuine, and recognized from those in a different category. Not canonical, but disputed. Well, obviously the dispute is in your mind. I've read them for myself, and it's most of them are truly worth a reading, simply from the inspirational standpoint, and also seeing more of the history. We have no originals, but we shouldn't leave no stone unturned and become scholars, certainly, ladies and gentlemen. Yet familiar also to most churchmen. For we must not confuse these with the writings published by heretics under the name of the apostles, as concerning either the Gospels of Peter, Thomas, Matthias, and several others besides these, Acts of Andrew, John, and other apostles. To none of these has any churchman of any generation ever seen fit to refer in his writings. Again, nothing could be farther from the apostolic usage of the type of phraseology employed, while the ideas and implications of their contents are so irreconcilable with true orthodoxy, they stand revealed as forgeries of heretics. It follows that so far from being classed even among spurious books, they must be thrown out as impious or beyond the pale. Of course, at the Nicene Council, which wasn't very nice, which Eusebius was a part of, and it may be that Eusebius was Jerome, who gave us the Latin Vulgate, and I'm still looking into that. But basically, the Nicene Council threw everything out but 2017 we need little letters, when Eusebius was the head of a library. And so something here doesn't quite fit, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the great enigma of our past and the Forbidden History series, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. And so we'll just have to leave it there and call it a wrap. I want to thank you for tuning in today, and for being a part of the Forbidden History before we are history, ladies and gentlemen. And you know that we're here for a very short time, and we do have to figure it all out. And so I'm just very grateful for Yah Love and her reading today, and for all of you stopping by and your kind thoughts and words. We've got a short bridge and a long way to go on that bridge to come to this great light that shines. Okay, yeah, thank you, Liz. Yeah. It came from these photos that I put on every day come from my radio network. I've got about 200 pages there of information, and so I'm just going through them one at a time, since all my other data is on my other computer still. Thank you, Lynn, for for being there and for sticking it out with us all the time. You're a real trooper, and I know you've are a deep study yourself. Love to all the outlets. And so I hope everyone has a safe weekend out there. Don't forget, coming up later today, Dane Wigington. Thank you, Sunfire. Dane Wigington, right? He's the all-time presentation on geoengineering. Don't miss Dane Wigington. 1 hour of absolute profound information. That's one of the best videos you can share with a friend is Dane Wigington, okay? They will have to see it, okay? And so just don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we're here 7 days a week, hoping to bring some light to a very dark world. And remember, if you want to know the future, then you just need to look for the Forbidden History right here, 7 days a week. It's what they didn't want you to know, but we tell, because somebody's got to do it. I'm Desert Owl, thanking you for tuning in. Look for you tomorrow as the world turns. Thank you, Yala. Thank you, Ninja. Thank you, Mew Mew, as well. I know I saw you there. And Martha as well. We'll see you.